Guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Sacred 6, number 5 from Dynamite Comics. Is this better than the last one? Yeah, it's mostly the same tone, right? If you watch my last 4 videos about Sacred 6, you notice there's a pattern here about some inconsistencies, some horrendous writing, and although it's from Christopher Priest, and Christopher Priest is, I heard, very good writer. I read some comics from him, and I think, hey, that's cool. But what he's doing here, I'm not entirely sure. But maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a reason for that, but I don't know. Of course, I collect all the Louis Parillo. Is it Louis Parillo? Let me double check. Can I see Lucio Parillo? Lucio Parillo. I love those comics. Really good. He's a great artist, and I love this cover as well with the, you know, with the reflection. And who is this? This is Chastity, I believe. Here looks like a beautiful female woman. In the comics, she looks like a butch lesbian with a cancel culture haircut. Unfortunately, but hey, that's how they are portraying her, and it is what it is. So we begin here, and I think there's a little bit too much light coming from my window, so give me a second. Yeah, way better. So this is basically in the past, although it's not really told in a way that's in the past. I mean, there's no, this is from the 1940s or 1920s or 2021. So basically, this cut founds Panta. But Panta was once, according to these kids, because somehow they have the knowledge of a black girl pharaoh in ancient Egypt. I don't believe Panta was ever black. If she is from, I know she is from those pharaoh times, but I can't remember that if she's actually black at that time. So I have to research that. Maybe I should have done that before I made this video, but hey, it is what it is. And now she is, white. And oh yeah, he says, why are we talking about some white chick in the 60s? So basically, this is part in the 60s. She's been found, she's been naked, and she was once Makara Samira Diogenes Hamza II, a teenage wife of a dead pharaoh, the pissed off Sekhmet, the cat of the goddess of war. Basically, the cop wants to do some hanky panky stuff with her, and then he is being ripped open because she's been cursed, Samira, and as you can see here, she's been transformed into Panta, and there is a voice. I believe that's the voice of the cat god. Not entirely sure. And she has also some visions, etc. And that concludes basically the story, somewhat about this character. But it seems that that she is, I don't know, wandering the streets. But when she is in panther form, she reverts more and more to the panther persona. And when she is in human form, she loses a memory through time, and then eventually only the panther persona is remaining. So with this comic, it always goes back and forth to different eras, I believe, and also to different places and locations. And then we see this horrible ad here about Sonia Versal. Don't get fooled by all these covers of Sonia and Vampirella comics. They are shit. The covers do not present the story or the art interior, because let's say this comic that I here have, and I'm, let's say, not a big fan of Dynamite Comics because of the terrible art, lack of backgrounds, my kryptonite, and overabundance use of weird flashy colors to muddle up the lack of backgrounds and other stuff. So don't get fooled. Don't buy these comics. The art is trash. Don't do it. You regret it. But hey, if you are a big Sonya fan, go ahead. wouldn't recommend it, but don't take my word for it. Oh yeah, then we have something interesting. So this is supposedly a church in this town, in this vampire town, and there's all supernatural creatures. I explained that last time. So we have seen here this woman reverend, and we see this blonde girl who has a relationship with the new Draculina, and she says, I have sinned. And said, who is the boy? The older woman says, well, it's a girl. And she says, of course it is. And then she's saying, oh, there goes my focus. Okay, it's back. So is it yeah, okay, yeah, let's depict the white people as racist, right? Why not? So basically she has sinned according to her belief. And then basically she guilts the little girl about, if you have sinned, that if you have lust, it conceives sin, and sin ends in death. And this girl is scared to death about that, hearing that. So, and there's some consequences about that. Then we skip to our friends, quote unquote, Nyx, Vampirella, and the new Draculina. And Nyx said, hey, okay, so, well, let's say, I skipped a little bit. Let's go a little bit back. Chastity killed a human officer who was basically the peacekeeper between the vampire and the monster and the monster population and the human. So, because he's been ordered by Lilith to kill it. Am I saying that right? Wait a minute. Yeah, well, she's been hired to take out the Six, the ruling council of Lumea Urmatoare, some kind of a vampire clan Taliban. But then he got in the way, and I believe he's just being a casualty. And then that has consequences as well, because now the monsters and vampires and other creatures are pissed off, and that means war. So Nyx here saying, hey, I'm still gonna kill your mother, Vampirella, because she is doing stuff to me. And then somehow she has some kind of a staff. She lost the staff. That staff is some kind of a catalyst to, remaining her powers. And then she loses that powers. It's switching off and on. And then out of nowhere, cops coming in, and they're shooting at her. Well, okay, that's cool, I guess. But then we see the Lumea, whatchamacallit, with Lilith coming to her portal, and then she using her vampire mojo to hypnotize them and says, hey, there's no vampires, let's just go away, right? And she says, hey, tell me, Lieutenant, who shot Chief Allen? And he said, well, we shot Chief Allen. Well, that's not true, of course, because, well, the Nyx did it. Nyx, Chastity did it. So basically they're blaming now other people using emoji. But then this is the cool one. And, well, these are mortal enemies. And, hey, he said, I said, you believe you come to kill me? I said, well, you tricked me into taking 1,000 lives, etc. So I'm not going to kill you too. But then she says, well, you once killed my daughter, so it's more like an eye for an eye now. And she throws a knife to Vampirella, to stab Nyx, but Vampirella said, no, I'm not going to do that. And Lilith says, typical. I know you're my daughter, but yeah, that's how it is. But then Lilith throws Nyx and kind of an amulet that looks like this logo, right? This is it here as well? Well, this here. It's maybe better. She said, clothe yourself. And she said, Nyx says, why should I do that? So it's basically she's a nympho, which is actually hilarious and also kinky. But I like that she said, hey, fuck clothes, right? Who cares? But then she's going to do it anyway, and then she transforms into some kind of stripper with the Vampirella logo on it. And then we have some shenanigans because Chastity says, hey, you hired me to kill vampires. And said, it looks like to me you're protecting vampires. And then this human, I believe he's a human, stepping up and said, listen, these people are the city needs protecting, and these are my people. And I watched them over for generations. So basically, he's supernatural, I think. And it's in Chastity, she says, people or vampires? I said, which are you, Chastity? I mean, as far as I know, you are also a vampire. And then then cancel culture comes around the corner because look at the cancel culture haircut. She says, I'm not a vampire. I am vampiral. It's a blood disease. So yeah, basically vampire is an offensive word, right? So I'm going to use some kind of made-up pronoun. Yeah, so it is less offensive because God forbid you are being called a vampire because that is what you are, although you are a half vampire. Oh man, these writers, man. Sorry, Christopher Priest, but your writing sucks, in my humble opinion. So, and then this walking corpse says, I'm a reanimated corpse with craving for human flesh. You shot the one human that could prevent wholesale slaughter. What makes that you? And she says, okay, I'm guilty. And then she also gets an ambulance as he's getting transformed into another white costume, something like that. So basically the whole team is now together, almost, except for Panta. And then she's going outside because the cops are outside. And then we're skipping a little bit to the little girl. And the little girl, you know, this girl, can I see it? Well, the black girl that's telling the story. So they're going outside, and somehow the spell that hypnotizes the cops is wearing off. So Vampirella tells us, okay, I'm going outside, and I'm gonna say that I just killed the human, the cop. But basically, this cop is also the father or grandfather of the black girl, and she's all in tears. So maybe there's some kind of a revenge thing going on. I'm not sure. It's not being hinted, but you never know with comics. Skipping pages. Then we see Draculina coming back through the portal, and then we see the female reverend. And she said, good evening. I heard something disturbing things about you, Victoria. We should discuss privately. And then she's grabbing her by the boobs. And then she opens the door, and then this is going to happen. So the blonde girl is, you know, hanging herself because she probably felt guilty. Or maybe she's murdered. I don't know. That's the intriguing part. And I believe she's dead. Not entirely sure. But she says she's cold, holy. Also something weird. Okay, I don't want to need to show everything. But okay, here we go. We see this caretaker, because this is still in the past somehow, giving mouth to Panta. Because this is still in the past, although we already know this caretaker of the forest, etc., is living together in the house with Panta. So this is a flashback, and then we see Samira Pharaoh, our queen, some kind of a flashback to when Panta was once a queen. Panta wakes up, and she dives into the water and rescues a human girl or boy. I cannot differentiate that because social justice warriors, people cannot, you know, draw people anymore because everything has to be, you know, boy, girl, or something in between, which makes no sense. And that brings us to the end of the video. I don't know what to say about this comic, and you probably think, hey, Marinus, why are you buying these comics? It's clearly that you don't like that. Well, that's the point. There's some aspects that I really like, and I really hope that when the story continues, that it's going to be better, and maybe all this weird stuff that, you know, is not needed, you know, with all the blatant racisms, you know, and the convoluted storytelling and you know, changing the characters that they once were for, I don't know, narrative reasons, you know, like Chastity, because she looks like a butch lesbian now. I don't know if she is a butch lesbian, but that's how they portray her here. So that makes it all weird. But at the same time, like I said, there's stuff that I really don't like. But at the same time, there is a lot of things there that I really like, you know, with the vampire clans, with the team together. Because I actually, I actually like all these characters at some point because I grew up with them. And there's aspects of those characters that are in here, but at the same time, they are also changed, you know? And I'm not sure what to think about that. So I hope it all comes together in the end. I don't think so, but we have to wait and see. So I'm going to continue covering